Thank you for staying with us. You're still watching The Breakfast on Plus TV Africa. Right now, it's time to discuss our second hot topic, and this says House Governor Alia trade blame over Benue killings. The House of Representatives has blamed Benue Governor Hyacinth Alia for the surge in killings in the state, accusing him of abandoning the anti-open grazing law. Deputy House Spokesman Philip Agbese said the governor's actions allowed violent herders to operate unchecked, worsening insecurity in communities like Ukum and Logo. Governor Alia fired back, saying Agbese lacked knowledge of how the state law works and insisted his administration is doing its best to address the crisis. He also called on the federal government to urgently intervene. Meanwhile, the House has summoned Alia and Zamfara Governor Dauda Lawal to appear before the Committee on Public Petitions over alleged legislative failures, warning that the National Assembly may take over if they fail to comply. Joining us this morning is Emmanuel Ikule, his Executive Director, Elixir Trust Foundation. Good morning, sir. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning, and thank you for having me.
All right, so we've seen what has happened in Benue, and honestly, our hearts goes to the people of Benue State, because it's quite unfortunate that the insecurity has taken over, to be honest. But right now, we're seeing a blame game. So Hyacinth is saying that's not how it works. The House is saying Hyacinth is your fault. But I want to get your own comment on this. What do you think about the fact that first, the people's lives at stake here, and what the government is doing is just exchanging blames?
For every governor or every government, once you have asked people to nominate you or to elect you for certain positions, the primary purpose of every government is security of lives and property. That is the primary aim.
Yeah.
So when you occupy a position and you are thinking or trying to be more politically correct, instead of trying to do that primary duty as expected of you, it's a problem. And the governor of Benue State for some time now has been doing that. Maybe trying to please the president, I don't know who is trying to please. The things have actually been wrong in the state, and it's good that he should actually be the primary person or the main person trying to push out things exactly how it is. But over time, it has not been so. So there have been killings daily in the state, and at first he was trying to even deny it in the first place before later he agreed. At the same time, when you're also looking at the security agencies in that particular state too, be looking at the body language of the first person, number one person in the state. If you are relaxed, they are also relaxed. That is why over time you won't see or have not seen anybody being arrested for cases of killings in the states. They come into the state, kill people, and they go. And you are hearing the governor coming out to talk about ECOWAS protocol and all that. Meanwhile, there is a existing law that is trying to address this concern. Instead of pushing for its implementation, you are quoting ECOWAS protocol and all that, permitting people to go in the states and go out. When you keep having or making such comments, indirectly you are encouraging the crime happening in the state to persist. Instead of working with the existing solutions and looking at how you can work with existing structures, to fix the problem.
Please go ahead, I can hear you.
Okay, so instead of working with existing structures, right, to fix existing problems. So for me, the governor on its own, you cannot work in silos. There's need for you to work with the state assembly in order to fix this. The state assembly makes this law and you implement. If they are querying your efforts concern implementation, because they are the ones that make this law. So if they are seeing gaps, it's pertinent that they will voice out, and knowing fully well that they are representing the people and these persons that are dying in their various constituency, and they have to speak to that. So if the governor on his own is not saying that maybe things are being said as maybe how he wants it to be, then he should engage them. That is how any house, that every house, even families, they quarrel. So at those times, you don't try to come online and behave like children. People are dying. You cannot be looking at trying to hear people should try to be correct in speeches and all that. Meanwhile, there's actions that people are expecting to see from you as the number one person in the state, they are not seeing it.
Yeah. So speaking of these actions, how can because both of them now are trading blame game. So how can they collaborate to ensure that both the federal government and the state government, is just effectively addressing the root cause of the matter? Because one of the things that has been said is, the anti-open grazing law, whatever that is, and it has, made these farmers become terrorists, to be honest. So I'm sure everybody have their own part to play, but how can they collaborate to ensure that this is sorted out as swiftly as possible so that the people of Benue can be safe?
The first thing is for every governor or every leader, when you are going to a particular field or area to work, you have to be aware of existing things or things that have been working in that particular location. So the governor, she should in the first place try to look at the anti-open grazing bill that was passed, because the law speaks to ranching. Instead of, everybody knows that Benue State is the food basket of the nation, and a lot of farmers they exist there, and that is what they do. That is their livelihood. So for you to have cattle or red cattle, they have spoken to having ranches where you keep your own heads so that it doesn't affect the operation of other persons. So if that is being done, you prevent these clashes over time. But the situation on ground now is no longer even about farmer-header clash. This is a completely different situation where people are coming with ammunition, not with cattle, just to come and kill people, grab their land, stay in their lands, and continue looking at advancing and grabbing more lands and then covering a particular location and over time. So these are a little bit different cases. But we believe that if properly implemented, it will show to everybody that the issues on ground is not really about farmer-header clashes. It was just the first step to blind people that wanted to be blind on these issues. But the reality, there's an agenda in that particular area. So the governor should try to implement the law that was made for the good of the state, because that is why he's there, to work for the people. If he's working to please people in Abuja or people that he feels will ensure his second term, then he's not worthy being the governor of the state. That is just the plain truth. You exist to work for the good of the state, and if you are not working for them and cannot even speak for them, then you are not worthy being the governor of that state. So that should be the first step. The second one is trying to go closer to the people. There have been reports that there are some members of the same House of Assembly that have been denied certain privileges, and some are being given some constituency allowances, some are being denied. There are certain issues, and currently they are not even sitting in their chamber. Their chamber is under renovation, and this is gradually going to about a year plus. So there are other issues that have not been fixed, and we know very well that unnecessarily the autonomy that we keep talking about, the legislative, the executive, and the judiciary, it does not really exist in our country. So the executive, to a large extent, controls the other arms of government, and that has been also a situation that we have found ourselves within the state. So he should work or go to them so that they can have an in-house meeting in order to resolve this, knowing fully well that the essence of them occupying this various position is not for them in themselves or to look at what they get, but how to work for the good of the state. The state is dying gradually, and we are looking at the hike in prices of food crops because of places of farmers they have been unable to go to their farms, and Nigeria at large is suffering because of these issues. Another thing again is the governor particularly also have to pay attention. Security outfit was formed in the state. There are about 100 vehicles were donated. Those vehicles, we have not seen them. That means, and there have also been reports that these vehicles have not been given to the security outfit for them to work. So he should, on his own, leave all these media conversations and concentrate on the actual work on ground.
I agree.
That will help people to see the work he's doing, not what he's saying.
I totally agree with you. And honestly, for me, I feel like this whole back and forth, in a way, it just even weakens the fight against insecurity, because you're just coming out saying things and you're not focusing on what is on ground at the moment, what is at stake, which is the security of the people, and that is the primary responsibility of the government, the welfare and the security of the people. But with that being said, towards the end of what was being said by the National Assembly was, if they fail to comply, just hinting like if it's underperforming, they will have to take over. So what are the next steps right now? For instance, if they feel like Governor Hyacinth is underperforming and is not, securing his state as he should, is it possible that they might want to maybe have a state of emergency like what we've seen in Rivers State, even though that was a bit more political? Are we going to, just see that happen here, whereby, there's going to be an authority that takes the oversight functions of that state?
For me, the first thing I would recommend is this. We have service chiefs in the country that have over time not been working, or maybe they have existed just for themselves or for the positions, just like it's my turn, I should have certain positions. Because in reality, there's no achievement from law enforcement officers within the country at this time. For a state like Benue that have police officers or have police stations in all local governments, and we have the famous 72 battalion and all that in Benue State, with no achievement to show to it, it means maybe the federal is not directing them, or the service chiefs are not directing the heads of the operations in the state to actually work towards addressing these concerns, or they are part of their conspiracy working against the good of the people. So the CPs in the state, recently I think they have been changed in CP, the Commissioner of Police for the Nigerian Police Force. I don't know about the military, but those persons that are being posted in the state should be given a 3 months, a 2 months, a 1 month ultimatum to actually address these concerns, because they work they are available in all these locations, and if they are willing to work with communities, I believe these killings will end. But that has not been the situation. So if the National Assembly is actually serious, they should call the service chief, because those officers at the states receive directory from the federal. So they are the federal should coordinate or call the service chiefs to order for them to instruct the CPs at the level of the state to address this concern. And failure to do this within a duration, they will be relieved of their duties or maybe even sacked. Because you signed to be an officer to protect life. That is the primary aim. So if you are occupying seats and people are dying, it's only citizens that are dying, you are not even finding officers in those locations or fighting or maybe trying to even counter attacks on citizens, then it means where directly are they working? Because in those crisis environments, if there's crisis in a location, you expect that these persons go there to address those concerns. I reported some time back when they were attacked last month, where people started coming on bikes and all that in the local government. This information reached them, and nobody went there until killings happened. It means they are not really interested in addressing this concern. So the House of Assembly should pay, the National Assembly should pay attention to what comes from federal. If the national agencies or law enforcement officers that are federal law enforcement officers are not being authorized to address these concerns, and then you go directly just blaming the state governor or the state representatives for failing to carry out their duty, then means, first of all, primarily, they are also failing. That is the primary thing. they are failing, and they should work towards addressing these concerns first at the federal, and then the state can also push its the law enforcement agencies working under the states to synergize in addressing this concern, but it starts first from the federal, and then the state. So the game shouldn't just be, okay, the state is failing. It's both ways.
Yeah. I think it's a collaborative effort. You know, everybody is just playing their part to ensure that the citizens are safe. So it's not even just about, I know we have like 3 tiers of government. We have the federal, the state, the local government, but everybody needs to put all hands on deck, you know, put their hands in the plow to ensure that insecurity is a thing of the past. And let's be honest, it's not even just about Benue State, there's Zamfara, there are other states, you know, that in fact, the entire Nigeria, we see insecurity, but maybe it's so many states are not like, you know, hot spots, but it's important that we eradicate this. It's important that we curb insecurity to the barest minimum so that we can just have a better nation whereby the citizens are safe. Anyways, want to say thank you so much for coming, Emmanuel. It's always a pleasure having you on our show. Thank you for your program. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for your time.
I
appreciate it.
Yes. All right, sir. Yes, this is where we ended. We're speaking with Emmanuel Ikwile, the Executive Director, Elise Trust Foundation. And we're just looking at the fact that the House of Representatives and Governor Alia have, you know, traded this whole blame game over the Benue killings. This is how much you can take on the show today. Thank you so much for having the breakfast with me. My name is Rome Paulson. I'll see you again tomorrow. Have a wonderful day. Good morning.